Good morning, everybody. Glad to have you here today. Can remind you, if you will, to like, share, and or comment on the post. And then, if you are in a position where you are able, if you want to follow along, we'll be in the 16th chapter, beginning in the fourth verse of the book of Acts. Verse 4 says, "But the people of the city were divided. Some sided with the Jews and some with the apostles. When an attempt was made by both Gentiles and Jews with their rulers to mistreat them and to stone them." One of the um, common lessons that we learn through the book of Acts is the reality of the persecution of believers. It was it was a common theme, really, regardless of who the Christian was, whether it was Paul or Stephen or any of the other apostles, any of the other believers that were mentioned, some of them not even by name. But we know that, again, persecution was a major issue for the church and for believers at this time. And I think the way it's worded here is a good picture of how things are even today. It says the people of the city were divided. They had different opinions of what was being preached to them. They have different opinions of the preachers, and that's something I think we again can learn from and can come to expect as believers, even today in this world, is a divided opinion. Not everybody's going to love us for preaching the gospel. Not everybody is going to support us, even within our own families. There will be divided opinions. There will be some that love us, some that hate us for proclaiming the gospel. I doubt seriously if there's ever been a preacher that has ever had a 100% approval rating. It just isn't likely. Same with just believers in general. If you go out and you try to live for Christ, there's going to be a divided opinion about you and about your faith. And so the lesson is that the greatest thing we can do as believers, as preachers, as witnesses for Jesus Christ, is just to surrender ourselves to Christ, uh, be an instrument in His hands, be a voice for Christ, and then as they say, let the chips fall where they may. Let people make their decision. All we can do is preach the gospel. We can't force it on people. We can't force people to like it. We can't force people to accept it. What we are responsible for is the preaching of the gospel itself, of being true, being accurate, being faithful in what we preach. And again, then there's going to be those again, some of even our closest friends and family who very well may turn their back on us because of our faith. But our responsibility, again, our duty is to again be faithful to the word, to be the instrument that God can use, be a voice for Him, just as we see with Paul or Peter or any of these other disciples and anyone else. Again, many of them go unnamed in the book of Acts. We go to the book of Hebrews in chapter 11, where we have the Faith Hall of Fame, where the great men and women of the Bible are listed. And we come to the end of that section, and it says, and there's many more. It didn't even give them a name. Who were persecuted, who died for their faith. We know of some of the great martyrs of the faith. We know about Polycarp and some of the other martyrs for their faith. But there, for every one we know their name, there has probably been hundreds who we won't know on this side of eternity. And we're just called to be faithful, to be a voice for God. And so I want to challenge you today to go out despite the persecution of those who might turn against you, or you might lose a friend or family member, but be faithful to Jesus Christ, what he has called you to do, the person he has called you to be. Have a good day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.